Okay. Well, why do you think Denver lost?
I'll get to some of the things they did poorly. The Chargers are better.
That's true.
I mean, I think they're a better team. They've swept them now this year, 2-0. They got the better quarterback. Coaches, both are really good. So what are we talking? Like, both good defenses, pretty similar in that regard. So they should have lost. The game was in L.A. L.A.'s playing for – both of them had a lot on the line. But L.A. had, obviously playing for its playoff life. But they did make mistakes. I mean, and I guess the analytics nerds want to jump on him for punting in general.
I don't know if we need to throw nerds. It's just football people.
No,
just football people is the wrong decision.
There's no reason to hit a guy making a fair catch. So that is the mistake.
Did he get pushed? I thought he got pushed a little bit.
Well, but I mean, but the thing is this.
Push, I think, is a odd
like,
rule.
you want to talk about
It's
nerds.
a strange, obviously strange.
You want to talk about nerds for a second. Us nerds have been thirsting for the fair catch kick at the end of the half for years. It was last attempted.
Is that serious?
Yes, swear to God. It's like it was one of those.
I was like, what in the world?
So this is something exactly. I mean, it was last attempted 5 years ago. Hasn't been made, obviously, in 50. But it is a coaching error to not be aware that thing exists and to kick it out of bounds. Because he could, because of the rules on the fair catch, anytime
you saying he should have kicked it out of bounds?
Yes,
out of bounds and then you're done.
Because anytime you fair catch a punt, or you're trying to and you get penalized, you can do the kick they did. That type of kick you can make from 70.
Yeah,
because it's the type, it's a kickoff and there's no rush. You can
Dudes
kick as low
can
as
do
you
that.
want.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
even without the penalty, they would have had the opportunity to try that. So that was a coaching error, and they also had a dumb penalty on a 3rd down where they roughed Herbert on the slide. That gave them 7 points when they would have kicked a field goal.
Oh, so without the penalty,
it would have been 15 yards further back.
Without the penalty, they still just fair catch. They still can try that.
Anytime in the game you want, if you fair catch a punt, you can do that on the next play. Nobody would ever do it except for at the end of half or end of game because it's like, I'd rather have the drive. So my point is, I think that could have been good from 68 if you needed to.
You see them all the time on kickoffs.
Kickoffs, it goes through the
It's like, we're going to sign this guy.
right. They got a 10-yard run up to the. But I'm going to put it on this, though. And that obviously was a little bit of a momentum shift. The defense. Like, and they had, I'm not even talking about the penalties on the defense, because the touchdowns by the Chargers in the second half were aided by penalties by Denver. But I'm talking about just your defense, which allows 18 points a game, 5th best in the league, gave up 15 in the 4th quarter, gave up 21 in the second half. All right, so if you've got that type of lead with that type of defense, you're supposed to hold it. And they didn't. And again, not even just talking about the penalties, but you have to, this is the strength of your team, and they let you down. So I will say on Denver's part, it's more so the defense than the coaching or the mistake.
And I don't think it's some super analytical, nerdy opinion that down 3 at midfield on 4th and 5 with 5 minutes left.
Go for it.
You should go for that.
Especially he went for it early.
Right, exactly. Like that's not like a newfangled, if you score a touchdown down 14, go 2. That to me was pretty straightforward and a mistake. And this is what I'll say, because I believe in football gods. Football gods can be very vindictive. And teams that make those many mistakes at all different levels, coaching mistakes, special teams mistakes, defensive mistakes, they sometimes get penalized in the worst way possible. And Denver losing next week to Cincy and then losing to Kansas City and missing the playoffs outright, and the Bengals, who we have refused to write off all year, sneaking in through the back door.
Worst nightmare.
I love the idea of it. Bengals, Bills, round 1, give it to me.
Okay. Let's just talk about the Broncos. We're not going to talk about the Bengals and playoffs and this that. Biggest reason Denver lost this game, because they just lost. That's it. Like this question is written like the Broncos were favored by 14. And the Broncos had all this momentum, and the Broncos are a top team in the NFL. and that they have Super Bowl aspirations, and they lost this game, and it was like, how did they lose this game? Or that they were up 42-10 going into the second half, and they somehow blew this epic lead, and it's like, how did this happen? They lost because they just lost. They got off to a really great, awesome, hot start. On the script, it was beautiful. Like, everybody understood exactly what needed to be done from the Denver Broncos, offense and defense for that matter. They were able to run the ball. Bo Nix was sharp. Sean Payton was sharp. Like, the defense was sharp. I mean, they really disrupted the Chargers from the jump. It was awesome. It was awesome to see. And then the run game went away. The Chargers offense was able to get things going the Chargers offense was able to get things going, and the defense was, for the Broncos now, the defense was kind of starting to kind of mess up, have some very untimely key penalties. There's no like specific reason. I understand we can blame some of the coaching decisions of Sean Payton. I get that. But I do think it's fair. Like, this was two rebuilding teams playing each other. These are two teams that are trying to feel it out, find themselves into the playoffs, and kind of go from there. This is not a completely baked team where it's like, all right, let's go. This team has already won significantly more games than they thought. Vegas thought this team was going to be trash. This is not a game that they're supposed to win. Thursday night, short rest, on the road, a division rival, rookie quarterback. Rookie quarterbacks are now 9-26 on Thursday Night Football on the road. Like, this is not a game that sets the Broncos up to succeed. So that's why I'm trying to really deeply unpack biggest reason they lost. They lost just because they lost. It's just what happened. I mean, it's just what happens. I don't like. This is also very surprising. I don't know if this is because this is a standalone game for the Broncos and we're at the end of the season and there's just not a lot to talk about, because how much can we talk about the Chiefs and the Bills being a top contender and this or that? But like, a lot of the conversations around this game have really kind of caught me off guard. If you saw my post-game show, like, they went after Bo Nix, and like, I don't know, like, just some of the conversations around this game, it almost is like people haven't really been paying attention to the Broncos and how their season has unfolded, or what the expectations were for this season. Not only in terms of what like the absurd expectations were in terms of only winning like 5 games or less, but also the expectations of like what you're hoping to achieve realistically with this kind of, you know, salary cap situation, rookie quarterback, etc., and just the roster alone. And it's like, the Broncos were never set up to be this like 12-13 win team. That's just not where they are. Their defense being great, Bo Nix playing, quite frankly, pretty great for a rookie especially. Like, this team is just ahead of schedule, and I'm just not expecting them to be able to come out on top consistently in like a tight divisional game such as this one right here. And this, because like when Bruce said, oh, they had this lead, they were doing all this going into the second half, they're supposed to. There's no supposed to. Like, those things don't exist anymore. This is 2024, man. Please tell me, like, they'll still talk about this. Oh, this team came back from down by double digits. They were down by 10 going into the fourth. Dude, we see that all the time. We see that weekly. This isn't football from like the 70s or 80s. Like, we see this all the time. If you're the biggest fan of name any team, whatever it be, the Broncos, the Bills, whoever, you ever feel comfortable being up by 10 minutes to go in the fourth? No one feels comfortable anymore in that type of circumstance, no matter who you're playing. Whether you're playing the Panthers, the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Lions, it doesn't matter. Like, we've watched enough football at this point to know that there's no supposed to. At this point, the only comfortable lead that you even remotely feel like, okay, you better not blow this, at least for me now, is actually probably 21 points. Maybe 17. Maybe. But like 14, I'm like, okay, you score a touchdown. Now you got it down to 7. You just got to get at least a stop or a field goal at best. And then you got to just get at least another touchdown or a field goal in the next drive. And then, I mean, like, you're right in it. Again, it's not like that's like an increase. It's not like we're painting out pictures where we're talking about like you need an onside kick and then a 2-point conversion and then a touchdown and then a safety and then another touchdown and then another safety. I don't know why we need multiple safeties. I mean, it's like we're not mapping out crazy scenarios here. So it's, you know, like, again, Denver debacle. What? Did I watch a different game? Because I don't understand. All of these games, the Broncos especially, like, I'm so much less concerned about them winning games. That's probably what it comes down to. I think it's awesome that they've been winning. I think it's awesome that they have like legitimate playoff hopes and all of that, and it's great to watch. But like I just care how they play and how these games look, not so much the final outcome. And this team is clearly better. This team's future is clearly brighter. They are clearly on the right track. But they are also clearly a draft and a free agency away from being that team. From having real expectations of consistently winning a game like this. And being able to not only be awesome off script, but on script as, you know, be awesome on script and off script as well. So, I don't know. Sometimes I think for teams we don't like, and it's not me, but media doesn't like, they really try to look for something that's not there. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to think of what example I want to use, but the one example I want to use, but I'm going to try to do a different one. It's like if Lamar Jackson was playing Joe Burrow. I know it's hard to imagine them playing against each other. And you think that Lamar Jackson is overrated. You're like, I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that good. And they go head to head and Joe Burrow wins. And Lamar plays pretty good, but you know, he not like a spectacular game. He just plays pretty good, pretty average. You see that outcome in the Ravens losing. You go, see, I told you, Lamar is overrated. He's just not good enough. And it's like, that was a single game. Like you can't just because Lamar threw an interception in the fourth quarter doesn't mean that he's overrated. It just was an unfortunate circumstance that happened. And now that the Broncos just merely lose a game against the Chargers, another playoff team with Justin Herbert and Harbaugh, and again, it's not like the Chargers are this top great team either, but still a really good, solid team. And again, a divisional rival. To like try to be like, this is a problem with the Broncos. This is a debacle. And that's why, like, in the one guy, I forget who it was now, was being like, Bo Nix, this is, he lost the game. Like, it's just, the intensity around a loss like this, I don't understand. This has really genuinely also caught me off guard. This whole day has kind of caught me off guard since last night. I don't know. I think even if you're a diehard Broncos fan, of course you're going to be bummed that they lost, but I feel like you should still actually feel pretty good. Because you were seemingly just like a play away or a penalty away from beating a playoff team. I mean, it shows you the potential. That's what this season is about. This season isn't about seizing that potential. It's just, this season was about showing the potential. And that's what we see. That's what we see against the Chargers, against the Chiefs, even against a team like the Colts, where you have a couple multiple interceptions, don't play well, but still come away with the win. That's what all these things signal. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just viewing things a little bit differently. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Broncos? What do you think the biggest reason they lost is, and what do you think about the conversations that have been had throughout this day with regards to this game? I feel like this is the most anyone has talked about the Denver Broncos all year long. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.